Good afternoon, everyone. Coming continuation of hashing topics. So this is the session 7 and module 5. So here is the two types of hashing techniques. First one is the static, and the second one is the dynamic hashing techniques. So here we are discussing with the hash-based indexes are best for the quality of selection. Can't support the range searches. So here is the two things. Hash-based indexes are the best for the quality selection, not support for the range searches. And secondly, static and dynamic hashing techniques exist trade-off similar to the ISMS versus B plus trees. So binary trees. So recall three alternatives for the data entries of k star. That first one is the data record with key value k, and k read the data record with the search key value k value, and k list value of reads of data records w hash search key k value. So these are the three alternatives for the data entries. So choice is orthogonal to the indexing technique. The choice is orthogonal to the indexing technique. Now we are going to discuss with the static hashing. So the primary pages fixed allocated sequentially, never the allocated overflow pages if you need it. For example, if you want to go for the allocation is the sequentially never deallocated or overflow pages if needed. And secondly, a simple hash function for n buckets, how it works. So that is equals to h of k equals to k into mod n value. So if bucket is where data entry with the key k belongs to, h of key is equals to like this 0 to n minus 1 value, and if overflow page is like this, and primary bucket page like this. So first one is the static hashing. Buckets contain data entries. What is the procedure we are following? Second is hash function f of n works on a search key in the field of record, or use the mode of n to distributed value over the range is equals to 0 to n minus 1. A previous slide it's showing that how it's worked. And then h of key equals to key mode of n works well for uniformly distributed data. So that is the one thing. And secondly, better h of key equals to a of key mode of p. Mode n is where p is the prime numbers. So here is the h of key is equals to a into key of mode of p. So mode of n. So here is the where p is the representation of the prime number. Then various way to tune the h value, hash function value, non-uniform, that is the like a checksum crypto, where we can use the different applications also. Next, so as with any static structure, long overflow chains can develop and degrade performance. So here is the any static structure, long overflow chains can be developed and degrade the performance. That is the main thing. And extendable and linear hashing, dynamic techniques to fix this problem. So dynamic techniques only to fix this problem. Now the drawback is previous one is here only thing extendable and linear hashing. It is the main important. So only issue is the long overflow chains is there. So that's why we are going to discuss with the dynamic techniques of fix that problem. So dynamic hashing. So what is mean by dynamic hashing or extending hashing? So the problem with static hashing is that it does not expand or shrink the dynamically as the size of the database grows or shrinks. So the problem is does not expand or shrink the dynamically as the size the database grows or shrinks. That is the problem of static hashing. So that problem overcome by using the dynamic hashing provides a mechanism in which data buckets are the added and removed dynamically and on demanded. So here is the we are adding the data buckets and removed dynamically and on demand what we require. On demand means what we require. So that's why dynamic hashing also known as a extended hashing. The dynamic hashing also known as a extended hashing. So for example, in exam point of view, in a university exam point of view, they will ask about what is the explain about the extended hashing. So extended hashing is nothing but a dynamic hashing. This is please remember these words. Next, we have to go for the hash function in dynamic hashing is made to produce a large number of values and only few are used initially. So large number of values and only few are used initially. That is a hash function for the dynamic hashing. So now we are discussing about the organization of dynamic hashing, how we can organizing. So here representation of hashing function is the key values, how four combination of buckets. So here is the every hash index has a depth value to signify how many, how many are used to compute the hash function. These bits can be addressed to n buckets. So here is the four buckets we have. So 2n means 2 into 2 4 buckets. So when all these bits are consumed, all these bits are consumed. That is when all the buckets are the full. For example, here is the all bits are consumed, then all buckets are the full. Then the depth value is increased linearly. The depth value increased linearly and twice the buckets are allocated. Here is the two things we have to concentrate. First one is the bits are consumed. That means when all the buckets are full, then the depth value is increased linearly. Twice the buckets are the allocated. So the operation of dynamic hashing is first one is the querying and update and deletion and insertion. See these four important parameters influence the operation of dynamic hashing. So first one is the querying. So look at the depth value of the hash index and use those bits to compute the bucket's address. So querying first operation step one is the querying. So first one is look at the depth value of the hash index and use those bits to compute the bucket's address. And secondly, update. Perform a query as above and update the data. So update means performance query as above and update the data. So we have to update the data every time. That is the main thing. And third one is the deletion. Performance query to locate the desired data and delete the same data. So performance of query to locate the desired data. We can option is locate the desired data and we can delete the same data if there is the option is there. So that is the very flexible to using of dynamic accessing. So next fourth one is insertion. So insertion means compute the address of the bucket. I want to compute the address of the bucket, how we can do. So this is a very important. You want insertion is a very important play roles. So if the bucket is already full, for example, add more buckets. If you want, we want to add more buckets. So what we record, add additional bits to the hash value. So recompute the hash function. So it will take all the again recompute. Else if else add data to the bucket if all the buckets are full. If the all the buckets are full, perform the remedies of the static hashing. So see, last function it is going to be static hashing. Again, we have to go for the dynamically. We have to add the buckets. So that is called as a dynamic. Even see, we can more important thing is insertion option. If the bucket is already full, for example, bucket already full, but we can add the more buckets. But in static hashing, it we can't do. So that is the main advantage of dynamic hashing. So the here is the dynamic hashing organization we can see, and what are the operations we performed here. First one is the querying and updating and deletion and insertion of the functions and adding update the data. All those things we did each and everything sequentially. So we performed everything sequentially. So we did successfully dynamic hashing functions operated in big data and big data collections and data structures. So this is the about of static and dynamic hashing techniques in a data structures. So now we are going to discuss with the applications of hashing, where we can use such kind of applications in a hash. First one is the associative arrays. Associative arrays, what where we can use associative arrays. For example, hash table are commonly used to implement many types of in-memory table. In-memory tables. See, in-memory means inbuilt. Means not inbuilt. It's like a static and dynamic type memories. They are used to implement associative arrays. Arrays whose indices are the arbitrary strings or other complicated objectives. So that way we can use the applications of hash. So next one is the database indexing. So already I told you in the module 4 starting why we need to go for the trees and this kind of trees, graphs and hashing, sharding. So first thing it is the main our data collection. What we are collecting data is the big data. So in that we have to go for the indexing process is the very important. So in that hash table may also be used as a disk-based data structure and database indices, such as in DBM values. Is a very important role. This one, it's a very important application for the our real world system. And next one is the caches. What is the cache? Hash table can be used to implement the caches, auxiliary data tables that are used to speed up the access to data and which is primarily stored in a slower media. So caches, we know that we know that even internet caches how it's work. Even we are collecting the different data and we are accessing the different data. So that time which is the primarily stored in a slower medium. That is the very important. So next one is the objective representation. So objective representation is the very important because of several dynamic languages such as Perl and Python, JavaScript and Ruby use a hash table to implement the objectives. So we want to implement the objectives in a different script language like dynamic language like Perl and Python, Java, Ruby. Particularly Python, it's a very important hash table to implement objectives. So that way hashing is hash functions is a very important place in all real world database collections and data structures and big data. So in this way one more application we have to see hash functions are used various algorithms to take to make their computing faster. So compared to previous whatever existing scripts, uh, then hash functions are very useful for the implementation and to make their computing process faster. So that way hash we can use. So the total applications for hash function is first thing is associative arrays and second thing is the database indexing and third is the caches, and fourth is the objective representation. So the present session we are discussing the first one is the what is the importance of the static and dynamic hashing functions. So in this static function have what are the drawbacks. So the drawbacks we have to overcome by using the dynamic functions. So in the dynamic functions, what kind of techniques we are using and what kind of operation we are using we can see. So in dynamic function we are operating the four things, that is the querying and querying, updating, and deletion and insertion process we did successfully. So yeah, next we can see the all about applications of hashing. So first one is the associative arrays, and second is the database indexing, how we can go for the database indexing in different data collections, and third one is the caches, how we can represent how we can store the caches and access the data previous one, and objective representation like Perl and Python, JavaScript, Ruby, different language implement objectives we can see, and we can implement the when we are implementing the various algorithm. Hash function is a computation process, is a very high speed computation process. That's why we are selecting the hashes in hash function in a different language. So in this totally we covered the three session for the hashing. Session 5 and 6 and 7 is the covered the total concepts of hashing. So this is the about of hashing, and I most probably in V2 exam will get one good question from the hashing. So please be concentrate on hashing techniques and hashing functions. Thank you. Thank you very much for your cooperation. Good luck.